2004. Probably the best year for racing games. You had Midnight Club 3, LA Rush, Gran Turismo 4, Need for Speed Underground 2, Burnout 3. There are just too many great racing games released that year to list. A lesser known game released in 04 was MX Unleashed for Xbox and PS2. As the title suggests, the game was about motocross, a dirt bike racing sport. And just like any other race, the object is to win. It sounds like a difficult task to create a video game for a sport jam-packed with tight jumps, epic stunts, and close quarters racing that's fair enough for the most novice of players all the way to gaming professionals to pick up and enjoy. But Rainbow Studios under publisher THQ were able to forge this game from experience taken only from creating ATV Off-Road Fury games in the past and MX Superfly in 2002. Does this game take the trophy, or did it bite the dust behind all the other big games of 04? Let's find out. This is my 10-year anniversary review of MX Unleashed. There are 6 categories that I grade games on: gameplay, graphics, sound, soundtrack, menus, and replayability. In this review, I'll analyze all 6 of these aspects to see exactly how well made MX Unleashed really is. If you've ever raced dirt bikes, you know how intrepid racers need to be to face this kind of task. This feeling of anxiety and fear is perfectly emulated in MX Unleashed. Every jump you make without violently flying off your bike is a gift. The physics in this game are really well done. There are 2 completely different physics engines that Rainbow Studios put together for this game. One of them is race physics. You'll get used to this one since it's the only one unlocked until 100%. Pro Physics is the other engine. The only difference between the 2 is that Pro Physics makes your jumps and tricks less easy to land safely. Speaking of tricks and jumps, there are more than plenty in this game. There are 2 stunt buttons on the Y and B or triangle and circle buttons, along with a stunt modifier button mapped to the right trigger or R1. Pressing these in unison with the directional buttons will make your biker do several different tricks. Every button and direction combination you can think of will net you a different trick. And every trick is different, except for the heart attack, COD, and tsunami. They are pretty much the exact same thing. Holding the analog stick forward and flicking it backward before a jump will force your rider to do a backflip. You could do button tricks while in a backflip, which will net you insane amounts of points, which will come in great handy in freestyle mode. Different kinds of flips and tricks appear in future games. Now let's talk about jumping. Jumping is likely the most important part of the game, no joke. If you do the opposite of a backflip, pull back on the analog stick and flick it forward, you will preload your jump. Preloading is undefinably important. It helps you pinpoint the exact trajectory of your jumps. During your jump, you can move your rider left and right on the track to line yourself up better, or lean forward and backward on the bike to do the very same. Leaning makes landing your jumps safely a lot more likely. If you don't line up parallel to the ground, you'll probably fly off the bike. When jumping, make absolutely sure you land just past the tip top of the hill you land on. This will allow you to carry the most speed downhill and onto the next jump. If you land before the tip top, you'll probably fly off the bike, or end up going so slow you wish you had. That's all there is to jumping, except if you land on an opponent, you'll knock them off their bike, which is hilarious. One more important gameplay feature is the clutch. Before a race starts, if you hold the clutch in and release it the moment the race starts, you'll get a huge speed boost that will send you straight to the front, provided you're not too early or too late. With the clutch, using the same concept, you can get massive speed boosts around corners. I've never really figured out how to do this myself and rely on speed in the corners, but the AI really utilize it, so if I were you, I'd learn how to do it. That's pretty much it for the actual gameplay. Just be safe and keep on the bike and the rest should come to you. So what's the game about then? It isn't all just jumping around and doing tricks, is it? Well, actually, that's about it. The only other thing is racing. There are 3 racing modes and freestyle mode. Supercross and Nationals are the racing modes. Supercross is the big building MX courses that are usually raced under television championships. They can be the easiest part of the game or the hardest depending on how good you are at preloading and clutching. Nationals are the outdoor tracks that can be both huge and small. These tracks have really long sequences of straightaways and jumps before going into long sequences of corners. Really, Supercross and Nationals are completely different racing modes. Not for Freestyle, which is, you guessed it, an open map filled with plenty of jumps and random modes. One random mode is Hit. This is a game between 3 hackers, and the goal is to hit 10 jumps before the 3 hackers. Why are they hackers, you may ask? Well, I found a couple of jumps that are nearly impossible, and how I've gotten them is still beyond me. But they get it on their first try. Another mode is Run, which is just you and the hits. It's a sequence of 3 to 7 hits, and you've got to get them all in one shot. Unless, of course, you reset your rider before you hit the ground. Run can be a real bitch and a half to complete, but it's oh so satisfying when you do. Then there's Stunt Mode, where you need to obtain a certain amount of stunt points under 2 minutes. This is where backflip combos come in especially handy. The final Freestyle mode is the third race mode. Here you take your bike up against behemoths of vehicles, such as the monster truck, circuit truck, dune buggy, biplane, and even a helicopter. The challenges may seem ominous, but once you figure out the tracks, they're kind of pushovers. Well, there's your gameplay pros. Now let's get to the... Career mode isn't very long. I finished the entire game in about 15 hours, and that's without buying completion of things in Freestyle mode. That's with 5-lap races too. The game should have been twice as long as it was, but then again, the tracks would begin to repeat too often and would just end up being tedious anyway. The AI, other than being hackers in Freestyle, are also hackers in races as well. Some of these tracks I just cannot for the life of me get around perfectly. But those guys have the natural talent even on the lowest of difficulties. And I would also complain about how easy it is to fly off the motorcycle, but I've played MX vs ATV Unleashed, and I will never again complain about MX Unleashed physics. The hit and run missions are still annoying. I give MX Unleashed 8 out of 10 for gameplay. In 2004, we were finally seeing exactly what the 6th generation consoles were able to produce graphics-wise. In MX Unleashed, riders and bikes are amazingly detailed, however their skins are not. While every individual part on the bikes are detailed, their colors and logos lack a lot. Same for the riders, although they do come in a bit better. The tracks are basic, but no one is going to look too closely at the colors when they're trying not to fall off the motorcycles. All in all, for 2004, it wasn't that impressive. I give MX Unleashed 6 out of 10 for graphics. I forgot to mention earlier that there are 5 types of bikes: 50, 125, 250, 450, and 500. Every class of bike sounds different, performs different, and looks different. As for the sounds, they are pretty realistic, and I have no problems with them. Although when sounds skip or miss, it's naggingly obvious. Vehicles sound good, but they're not really realistic. The monster truck doesn't sound gross enough, you know what I'm saying? I give MX Unleashed 7 out of 10 for sound. There are about 10 songs in the game. All of them are modern rock that you would probably associate with teenagers, so at least it's fitting. You'll hear the same songs often, so you'll get used to them, but there isn't much else to choose from, so I give MX Unleashed 8 out of 10 for soundtrack. Up next is menus. You may wonder why I choose to rate menus for the overall game. I just think that being able to navigate exactly where you want to get in a game needs to be fluent and simple. Otherwise, you end up fiddling around with these things much longer than you want to be. And let me tell you, this is the best game for menus I've ever reviewed. And even though this is only the 2nd game I've reviewed, I think this pick will stick. Every menu is neatly organized and navigable. Settings are saved so you don't need to change it every single time you open it. Autosave only appears after races. The only menu I have a problem with is the store menu. It's really slow and takes forever to navigate, but hopefully you'll never need to go there anyway. I give MX Unleashed 10 out of 10 for menus. I've played this game many a time since getting it around 2005. It's always as fun as the first time. I've kept the game alive through role-playing like most people give their games lifetime. But not everyone roleplays, and that's not enough to give it a perfect score. Races are different every time you set out to the track, and Freestyle gives you infinite possibilities to jump around and have a good time. And everyone who roleplays in their games knows how well it keeps you playing, and for me, even without roleplaying, I've gotten a good 9 years out of it. And so, I give MX Unleashed 8 out of 10 for replayability. And that's all my grading criteria out of the way. Time for the final score. I really haven't forgotten to mention anything besides cheat codes and random stuff you can find in freestyle modes. There's a fast lap attack mode where you can take to any track that you want and try a run. If you're good at the track, it's fun. If you're not, it isn't fun. There's also ghost laps, which is just like any other game with ghost laps. Now for the final score. Keep in mind that this is my opinion and personal experience I've taken from the game. Your game may be broken and wrong if you have any different experiences. After grading the game over the 6 categories, I have come up with the final score of 7 out of 10. This game is without a doubt revolutionary. It took everything that was good in Superfly and expanded beyond anything anyone expected. The problem is the game is too short and too easy. Sure, the AI are hackers, but you usually have plenty of time to make up for your mistakes and take the win in the end. It just doesn't look great. There's so many colors, but most of the tracks are dark and gloomy and you barely notice differences. It's a shame too because it is really detailed. You can only barely see it. That doesn't mean I think MX Unleashed is a mediocre game with a 7 out of 10 score. I have enjoyed this game from the moment I got it, and I've enjoyed it even more after the horrific event that was playing MX vs. ATV Unleashed. Thank you all so much for watching my 10th anniversary review for MX Unleashed. This has been...